The first thing she did was block me. Not a word, not a conversation, just the cold swipe of her finger across my life. And with that simple, brutal action, everything we built together crumbled in an instant. Her name disappeared from my phone, her messages turned to nothing but shadows, and I was left in a suffocating void, staring at a blank screen, unable to even call her back. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, to rage, to demand answers, but I didn't get that luxury. There was nothing but silence and a steady thrum of panic in my chest. I thought we were happy. Her name was Emma, beautiful, warm, full of life. She was everything to me. We'd been together for 3 years. We'd laughed over late-night pizza, held each other through long drives in the rain, and planned a future. I believed we were soulmates. I believed in our love. And for a long time, I thought she felt the same. But then came the coldness. Slowly, it crept in. First, the little signs. She stopped responding as quickly, her eyes didn't hold the same warmth, the way she used to touch me as if I were her world turned into something mechanical. I tried to ignore it, rationalized it away as stress from work, or maybe just a phase. But deep down, I felt something shift. I was blind. I didn't see it until it was too late. The truth is, she didn't leave me for a better life, a better person, no. She left me for another man. And I didn't even know who he was. But that's the thing with betrayal. It doesn't come with warnings, and it doesn't give you the time to figure out the details. It just blindsides you, tears you apart, and leaves you with nothing. But what Emma didn't know, as she lay in the arms of another man, was that I was already planning my revenge. To understand why Emma's betrayal cut so deep, you need to understand the foundation we built together, the love I thought was unbreakable. Our relationship wasn't just some fling or a brief chapter in our lives. It was a carefully constructed world, a delicate house of cards built on trust, shared history, and mutual affection. At least, that's how I saw it. I was 28 when I met Emma, and she was the first person who made me feel truly seen. We met at a mutual friend's party, and from the very first conversation, it was electric. She had this energy about her, a magnetic presence that made everyone around her feel like they mattered. I was no exception. I wasn't the smoothest guy at the party. In fact, I was the kind of person who'd hang back and watch people. But when Emma spoke to me, everything changed. She made me feel special. In a room full of strangers, she chose to engage with me, to share a laugh, to talk about the things that mattered. I remember the first time we hung out, just the two of us. We spent hours talking, about everything and nothing. We both loved old movies, obscure books, and spontaneous road trips. Our shared interests, coupled with a natural chemistry, made us inseparable. And soon, that chemistry evolved into something deeper. Something stronger. She became my confidant, the person I called after every small victory and each crushing defeat. She was my rock. But rocks, like everything else, have their limits. As we settled into a rhythm of shared lives, weekends spent cooking together, mornings with coffee and the occasional lazy kiss, I began to notice subtle shifts. First, it was the distance. Not physical distance, but emotional distance. Emma started to pull away. She'd cancel plans at the last minute, and when I'd try to talk to her about it, she'd smile, apologize, and promise to make it up to me. But the excuses became more frequent, the promises more hollow. It was as if I wasn't her priority anymore, like I had become a fixture in her life that she no longer valued. Still, I didn't want to believe it. I thought it was just a phase, that something at work or in her personal life was stressing her out. Maybe I was even subconsciously making excuses for her. She was perfect in my eyes, and I couldn't imagine life without her. Then came the strange late-night messages. At first, I chalked them up to her being busy with a friend or work. But when I saw her texting him, the man I didn't recognize, the doubt hit me like a punch to the stomach. Emma wasn't one for secrets, at least, not when we first met. She was an open book, the kind of person who shared everything, no matter how small or insignificant. So why was she hiding this? I didn't confront her immediately. I wasn't sure how. The fear of losing her held me back. And deep down, I didn't want to believe I was the one who had been left behind. The thought of confronting her was terrifying. What if she didn't care enough to fight for us? What if it was over and I hadn't even known it yet? The truth came out in pieces, bit by bit, until the night she blocked me. But looking back, the signs were always there. Her gradual indifference, her increasing coldness, her secretive behavior, it was all leading to this moment, even if I hadn't been able to see it. And all the while, I was falling deeper, convinced that she was the one I would grow old with, the person who would be there in the darkest moments, just like I had been there for her. I wasn't the perfect boyfriend, far from it. I had my flaws. I was intense, sometimes to a fault, and I had my moments of jealousy, especially when things started changing with Emma. But I always tried to be understanding. I was always there, trying to support her, trying to make her happy. I thought that was enough. I thought love was enough. But for Emma, apparently, love wasn't enough. And that was the hardest pill to swallow. In those first few hours after she blocked me, as I lay there staring at my phone, I started to piece together the puzzle. I remembered the random hours she'd vanish, the sudden quietness on the other end of the phone when I called her, the way she'd become irritated over the smallest things. All those little moments that I'd shrugged off, thinking they were just bumps in the road. But they weren't. They were red flags. Emma had been slowly slipping away, and I was too blind to see it until it was too late. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't just sting, it shatters you, bit by bit. And as I lay there, crushed by the weight of her absence, I realized something: Emma wasn't the woman I thought she was. She wasn't the person who stood by me through thick and thin. She was the woman who would rather walk away for the sake of her own happiness, without a second thought to the damage left in her wake. But here's the thing, nothing stays buried forever. And I wasn't going to let her get away with this. If she wanted to leave me for another man, she'd get her chance. But when she realized the mistake she made, when she realized who I truly was, what I was capable of, she wouldn't be able to forget me. That's when the plan started forming in my mind. Every single piece of the puzzle I'd ignored, every little slight, every hurtful glance, was now part of a much bigger picture, a picture I was going to create. Because Emma had no idea what she was about to lose. And I was going to make her regret it. But the path ahead wasn't going to be easy. The man she had left me for, whoever he was, he would be part of my plans too. And I wasn't just going to take her back. No, I was going to make her wish she'd never left. It wasn't just the blocking that tore me apart. No, that was only the beginning. It wasn't until I found out why she left, the real reason behind her sudden coldness, that the betrayal hit me like a freight train. And when I learned the truth, I realized just how deep the knife had gone. It was about a week after Emma blocked me, and I was still reeling. I couldn't stop thinking about her, her smile, her laugh, the way she used to hold me when we were both feeling vulnerable. All of it felt like a cruel joke now. Every corner of my apartment felt haunted by the ghost of her, every photo, every piece of music we used to enjoy together was a painful reminder of how she had erased me from her life. But then something happened. It wasn't much at first, just a message from one of her old friends, Sarah. At first, I thought it was spam, maybe someone trying to sell me something, or worse, someone who just wanted to poke fun at my misery. But when I saw Sarah's name, something in my gut told me I couldn't ignore it. It read, "I know you're hurting, but you need to know what Emma's really doing. Don't blame me for telling you. She's with someone else. You deserve to know the truth." I stared at the message for a long time. It was so vague, so cryptic, but the words, "someone else," sent a chill down my spine. My hands trembled as I typed back, "What do you mean? What's going on?" Her reply was instant, "I shouldn't be telling you this, but Emma's been seeing him for a while now. The guy she's with is someone from her past. She didn't want anyone to know, but it's been happening for months. I didn't want to see you getting hurt, but you deserve the truth." I felt the ground drop from beneath me. This wasn't just some fling. This wasn't just a few late-night texts or a casual flirtation. No, this was a full-fledged affair. Emma had been seeing someone else for months, and it had started long before she decided to end things with me. I could feel my heart beating faster, my chest tightening. I had to know more. I needed to understand just how deep this went. So, I asked her, "Who is he?" Sarah hesitated before sending the next message, "His name is Tom. He's been in her life for years. I think he was always there, waiting for the right moment to come back into her life. She doesn't know I'm telling you any of this. She's probably been telling everyone she's done with you for good. She was good at hiding it." Tom. The name burned in my mind like a brand. I didn't know him. I had never heard of him before. But something about the way Sarah described him, that he had always been there, lurking in the background, waiting for the right moment, it made my blood run cold. This wasn't a random fling. This wasn't just some guy she had met at a bar or a colleague who happened to cross her path. Tom had been there all along, and I had been blind to it. The idea that she had been living this double life, laughing with me while sneaking off with him, made my stomach churn. How long had she been planning this? How long had she been pretending to love me, to be invested in our future, while her mind and heart were elsewhere? I thought back to every moment we had shared, every conversation we had about our future, our wedding plans, the life we would build. And then it hit me like a punch in the gut, I had been nothing more than a placeholder. I wasn't the love of her life. I was the person she settled for while she waited for Tom to come back into the picture. It made sense, now that I thought about it. The late nights. The text messages. The sudden irritability whenever I brought up something serious. It wasn't because of stress or work. It was because she had been splitting her focus between two men, living two separate lives. I sat in my living room, staring at the message, my mind racing. The anger boiled up inside me, but it wasn't just anger. It was a mix of humiliation, betrayal, and a deep, aching sadness. For the first time, I felt completely alone. Not just because Emma had left me, but because I realized that I had never truly known her. She wasn't the person I thought she was. She had played me. And now, I was nothing more than a fool in her eyes. But here's the twist, Sarah wasn't the only one who had been watching. There was another person who knew about Emma's affair long before I did. And that person wasn't just some random acquaintance. It was Tom himself. I didn't learn this through another cryptic message or random tip-off. No, I discovered this the old-fashioned way, by digging. I went through Emma's things. It wasn't something I was proud of, but in my pain, I couldn't resist the urge to uncover the full truth. I went through her texts, her emails, her social media. It felt like invading her privacy, but I had to know. I had to find out just how deep her betrayal ran. That's when I saw it. A message from Tom, sent the day before she blocked me. "I can't wait to see you tonight. I've been thinking about you all day. I don't know how much longer I can keep this a secret from him." I felt sick. This wasn't just some casual affair. Emma had been having an ongoing relationship with Tom, and even now, she was planning to meet him behind my back, all while I was sitting there, completely unaware. The last part of the message, though, chilled me to the core. "I don't know how much longer I can keep this a secret from him." That sentence. It was a ticking time bomb. She was caught in the middle of two worlds, and she couldn't keep pretending forever. And the worst part? Emma hadn't just betrayed me, she was playing both of us. The man she had left me for wasn't just her lover. He was also trapped in her web of lies. The betrayal wasn't just my pain. It was his, too. And when he learned the full truth of what Emma had been doing, he would feel it, just as I had. That realization, her playing us both, did something to me. It wasn't just about getting revenge on Emma anymore. No, it was about exposing everything. About making sure both Emma and Tom understood that I wasn't just some pawn in their game. I was going to turn the tables. And when they realized what I was capable of, they would know how deeply they had underestimated me. The night I discovered Tom's messages was the night I knew my life would never be the same. But I didn't act immediately. No, that would have been too easy. If I had walked in on Emma and Tom together, I might have erupted in rage, confronting them, perhaps even making them feel my pain. But that wasn't enough for me. No, I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me unravel. Instead, I decided to wait. To watch. In the days that followed, I kept digging. I kept searching for more evidence, more signs of Emma's betrayal, because I knew there was more to it. People don't just wake up one day and decide to leave everything behind. There was something deeper, something she was hiding from both of us. That's when the unexpected complications started. It wasn't long before I discovered that Emma wasn't just lying to me. She was lying to everyone. I had a friend, Greg, who had been close to Emma and me since we first started dating. We'd gone on vacations together, celebrated birthdays, and even shared holidays. He knew us both inside out. So when I ran into him at a bar one evening, I figured it would be a chance to talk, to vent about what had happened. But as soon as he saw me, I could tell something was off. His face wasn't the one I had known for years, there was a hesitation, a coldness to it. "Hey, man," he said, too casually. "How've you been holding up?" "Don't lie to me, Greg," I said, my voice low, as I stared at him. "You know what's going on. You knew something was happening with Emma, didn't you?" He shifted uncomfortably, glancing around the bar as though he wanted to flee. "What are you talking about, dude?" "I don't know what." "Cut the crap," I interrupted, my patience snapping. "I know you know. You've been talking to her, haven't you? What's going on? What else is she hiding?" Greg seemed to falter, the words stuck in his throat. It wasn't like him to be this evasive, and for a split second, I saw something else in his eyes, a hint of guilt. That's when I knew. He wasn't just involved with Emma's secrets. He was deeply involved. Finally, he sighed and rubbed his face, looking drained. "I didn't want to be the one to tell you. But man, you've got to know. Emma. She's not the person you think she is. I didn't want to hurt you." I took a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. "Tell me, Greg. I deserve the truth. What's going on?" He hesitated again, but then he blurted it out, his voice barely above a whisper. "She's been seeing Tom, for months now. But here's the twist, you've got to hear me out. It's not just him." I froze. My mind couldn't process it. "What do you mean, not just him?" Greg ran his hand through his hair, clearly stressed. "It's complicated, man. Emma's been involved with Tom, but she's been seeing someone else too. Someone even closer to her than you realize. Someone you'd never expect." I felt a sickening chill creep up my spine. "Who?" His face darkened, and he looked around the room nervously before leaning in closer. "Me." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. "Greg? My best friend. The one who had always been there for me. The one I trusted, the one who knew everything about my relationship with Emma." "You're kidding, right?" I managed to rasp, barely able to breathe. "You've been with her, too. While she was with me." "What the hell, Greg?" He looked ashamed, his eyes falling to the floor. "It started a long time ago, man. I didn't want it to happen. It was just supposed to be a one-time thing, but it didn't stop. I tried to tell her to stop, but she kept coming back. She kept pushing me, and I didn't have the strength to fight it. "You betrayed me," I whispered, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. "All this time, you were pretending to be my friend, and you were sleeping with her behind my back. I didn't want to hurt you, man. I tried to get out of it. I know it was wrong, but I didn't know how to stop it. She was chasing me, every time I tried to pull away, she pulled me back in. I'm sorry." His voice cracked, and for a moment, I thought I saw a tear slip down his cheek. But I wasn't in a place to care. I felt numb, betrayed by the one person who should have had my back, the person who had been privy to every vulnerable part of my life. How long has this been going on? How long had Greg been lying to me, smiling in my face, all while betraying me in the most intimate way possible? "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked, my voice cold. "Why didn't you come clean before?" "I didn't want to destroy you. I was trying to protect you, even if it meant carrying this guilt around," Greg replied, shaking his head. "I thought Emma would tell you eventually. I thought she'd come clean on her own. But then I realized, she wasn't going to. She was never going to. She's too selfish, too wrapped up in her own needs." I felt the anger building inside me, rising from the pit of my stomach like molten lava. I wanted to scream, to punch him, to hurt him the way I had been hurt. But I didn't. I just stood there, my fists clenched, trying to process what Greg had just confessed. Emma hadn't just been unfaithful to me with one man. She had been playing us both, her two lovers, her two best friends. And I had been a fool, blind to the entire thing. But the most terrifying part of all? Greg wasn't the only one. I thought back to Tom's message, "I can't wait to see you tonight. I've been thinking about you all day. I don't know how much longer I can keep this a secret from him." She hadn't just been hiding it from me. She'd been hiding it from everyone. She was living a life of lies, with me and with Greg, and now I knew there was no way of knowing just how deep this web of deceit went. But if I was going to make Emma regret what she did, I couldn't just focus on Tom or Greg. No, I had to play the game at a different level. And now, I had even more leverage than before. I wasn't just going to get revenge on her. I was going to expose everything, her lies, her manipulation, and the way she had twisted everyone around her into this mess of betrayal. But first, I had to deal with the two men who had betrayed me. Greg and Tom. They would be the first to feel the consequences of underestimating me. For the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of clarity. The raw pain, the betrayal, the numbness, it all started to fade. What was left was a deep, simmering rage, an icy cold fire that had been growing inside me ever since Emma decided to tear everything down. Now, I had a purpose. I wasn't going to let her walk away unscathed. I wasn't going to let her think she could destroy me and get away with it. No, she was going to feel the consequences of her choices, every single one of them. But this wasn't going to be some reckless, emotional outburst. No. My revenge would be meticulous, calculated, and strategic. I would make sure she regretted the day she ever crossed me. I wouldn't just destroy her relationship with me, I would expose everything. I would turn her world upside down, and when she finally realized what I had done, she would understand just how thoroughly she had underestimated me. The first step in my plan was simple, I had to understand Emma's world, all of it. I couldn't just get revenge on one front, I needed leverage, multiple points of attack. That meant I had to know everything about her, who she was now, who she was pretending to be, who her real relationships were with. So, I went back to her apartment. At first, I felt a pang of guilt. It felt wrong, like an invasion of privacy. But then I remembered the coldness of her leaving me. The silence. The betrayal. I was done with guilt. If she was going to walk all over me, then I was going to use everything I had to turn the tables. I managed to get into her apartment by using the spare key she had given me months ago, something I had never considered using until now. I walked through the door, and the emptiness hit me hard. Her scent was still in the air, faint but lingering. It made my stomach churn. I could still see traces of our life together, photos on the walls, her things scattered around, reminders of the person she used to be before she became a stranger. But I wasn't there to reminisce. I was there for information. I started by going through her desk and drawers. I found receipts, old letters, and, just as I had hoped, more messages. The more I searched, the more I uncovered. I found evidence of her affair with Tom. Explicit messages, conversations about the future, the plans they had made. But there was something else too. Something that made my blood run cold. A series of messages between Emma and Greg, my best friend. They weren't just talking about me. They were discussing us. They had plans. Plans to make me think she was the one who was suffering. Plans to convince me that everything was my fault, that she was the victim. Greg had been playing both sides, convincing me to believe one story while feeding Emma's version to me. I had expected betrayal from Emma. But not from Greg. That cut deeper than anything else. He wasn't just Emma's accomplice, he was the architect of the lie. I had been blind to all of it, just like I had been blind to Emma's infidelity. But now, I know everything. I left her apartment that night with all the information I needed. It was time to execute my plan. I had no intention of letting Greg off the hook easily. He had to pay for the damage he had caused, and I wasn't going to make it quick. No, I was going to destroy his reputation piece by piece. And the best way to do that was by using his own words against him. I started with the easiest target, his social media. Greg, like everyone else, had a profile filled with posts about his perfect life, his fake smiles, and his endless, self-congratulatory posts about his career, his accomplishments, and his friends. But buried deep in his digital footprint were details that, if uncovered, would ruin him. I began by posting screenshots of the conversations I had uncovered between him and Emma. The ones where they discussed how to manipulate me, how to pretend to be my friend, how to convince me that she was the one who had been wronged. It wasn't just a betrayal of friendship, it was a deliberate, calculated effort to hurt me. And I wasn't going to let it slide. I made sure these screenshots went viral, shared them across multiple platforms, making sure that everyone in our circle saw what Greg had done. The fallout was immediate. His friends began to distance themselves from him. His reputation as a reliable, trustworthy guy shattered overnight. His business contacts pulled away, and soon, Greg was a pariah. I didn't take pleasure in the destruction of his life. But I did take satisfaction in knowing that he couldn't hide from the truth anymore. The mask he had worn for years, the good guy persona, was gone. And as the public began to turn their backs on him, I knew he had learned a valuable lesson: lies, no matter how well crafted, always get exposed. While Greg was unraveling in public, it was time for Emma to face her own reckoning. The first part of this was simple: I had to make sure Tom knew exactly what kind of woman he was dealing with. Emma had been playing him just like she had played me, making him believe he was the one she truly loved while hiding the truth. I had evidence of their affair, and I knew that exposing it would hurt her the most. I started by sending Tom everything I had. The messages, the plans they had made, the secret meetings. I made sure to include screenshots of Emma's lies, the way she had manipulated me, pretending to be the victim while she was juggling two men. I knew it would hit him hard. I knew it would make him question everything he had believed about her. But here's the thing, I didn't stop there. I also reached out to Tom's ex-girlfriend, someone I knew Emma had been talking behind his back. It wasn't just about revenge, it was about exposing the entire web of lies she had built around herself. I wanted to make sure everyone knew what kind of person she really was, the woman who pretended to love but used people like pawns in her game. I didn't just want to hurt her, I wanted her to feel the full weight of her deception. To understand the pain she had caused, not just to me, but to the people she had manipulated and discarded. With Greg and Tom exposed, it was time to turn the spotlight back on Emma. She had carefully curated her image over the years, built a life based on lies and manipulation. She had people who believed in her, people who saw her as a loving, caring woman. I was about to shatter that image completely. I started by contacting people she had once worked with, old friends she had lost touch with. I gave them a simple choice. Help me expose the truth, or live in the dark. Some of them hesitated, unsure of whether they wanted to get involved, but eventually, most came forward. The truth was too powerful to ignore. I created a website, a collection of everything I had discovered. Photos, messages, videos, all the evidence that proved just how far Emma had gone to deceive everyone around her. I shared it anonymously, sending it out to her closest contacts, making sure it reached everyone who mattered. Soon, the website went viral. Emma's carefully built persona was ripped apart. Her friends turned on her. Her colleagues distanced themselves. People who had once praised her for her kindness and warmth now saw her as the manipulative, deceitful woman she truly was. But I didn't stop there. I made sure she knew I was behind it all. I sent her a message, a simple one, but one that would haunt her: "You'll never forget me." This is what happens when you play with fire. The aftermath was exactly what I had hoped for. Emma's life was in shambles. Her reputation was destroyed, and even Tom, the man she had left me for, had finally seen the truth. He felt betrayed by her, just as I had. As for Greg, well, he was the first casualty. He had been so sure that he could escape the consequences of his actions, but in the end, no one escapes the truth. The once popular, good guy was now a pariah. I had made sure of that. And me? I wasn't the same person I had been. I wasn't the broken man who had loved blindly. I wasn't the man who had let Emma walk all over me. No, I was something different now. Someone who knew exactly what he was capable of. Someone who had turned betrayal into power. The best part? Emma would never forget the way I made her regret every choice she made. And when the time came for her to pick up the pieces of her broken life, she would know, she would always know, that she had made the mistake of underestimating me. But this wasn't the end. The world was a game, and I was just getting started. There would be more to come. But for now, I was content. I had won. As Emma sat in the wreckage of her life, the fallout was impossible to ignore. Her social media accounts were filled with angry comments, people accusing her of betrayal and manipulation. Her friends turned their backs on her, one by one, as the truth spread like wildfire. Even Tom, the man she had left me for, had ghosted her, refusing to speak to her after seeing the full extent of the lies she had told him. But what hurt her the most wasn't the public humiliation or the loss of her relationships. It wasn't the fact that she had been exposed for the manipulative, deceitful person she was. It was the message I had sent her. She thought she could escape the consequences of her actions. She thought that by blocking me, by running away, she could start fresh, leaving behind the man who loved her. She was wrong. The revenge I had orchestrated wasn't just a one-time payback. No, it was a carefully calculated lesson. One that would stay with her forever. I didn't just destroy her. I destroyed the illusion she had built around herself. The life she had curated, carefully constructed on lies, crumbled before her eyes. And as she sat alone, staring at the wreckage of everything she had worked for, I knew she would never forget me. The final twist of the knife came a few weeks after everything had settled down. Emma reached out to me, a simple message, though I didn't need to read it to know what it said. She was begging for forgiveness. She was sorry. She wanted to make things right. But by then, it was too late. The woman I once loved was gone, and in her place was a shattered version of herself, a woman who had no one left to turn to. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I had gotten what I wanted. But the satisfaction I felt was fleeting. You see, when you've been betrayed on this level, the taste of revenge isn't as sweet as you'd expect. It wasn't just about making Emma regret her choices. It was about reclaiming my power, about taking control over my own life again. The truth is, revenge isn't just a weapon used against someone else, it's a tool to remind you of who you really are, and what you're capable of. But that wasn't the end of my journey. No, the world is a complicated place, and the scars Emma left on me are only the beginning. There are still plenty of people who deserve to feel the weight of their actions, and I'm not one to back down from a challenge. I've learned that betrayal is a part of life, but so is redemption. And sometimes, the lines between the two aren't as clear as we'd like to think. In the coming months, I found myself drawn into more stories of people who thought they could take what they wanted without consequence. And as I began to uncover new betrayals, I realized that there was something deeply satisfying about exposing the truth, about righting the wrongs that others thought they could get away with. But the most shocking part? I'm not done yet. I've got plans that will change everything. There are people out there, hiding in the shadows, thinking they can walk all over others without facing the consequences. They think they're untouchable, but I'm here to remind them that no one is safe. There's always someone watching. Someone waiting for the moment when they slip up, when they reveal their true colors. And when they do, I'll be there, ready to pull the strings and make sure they regret every decision they've ever made. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's just say this, there's always more to uncover. And you don't want to miss what's coming next. So, if you want to see how the next chapter unfolds, how the lies continue to unravel, and how the truth always finds its way to the surface, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. This story isn't over yet. And trust me, the best part is still to come. Stay tuned.